Home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back into the Bettor Sports Betting Show here with Howard Bender. I am Dan Servodidio, here every day for you guys at 4 o'clock Eastern on the Bettor Sports Network app, YouTube, Twitter, Fantasy Alarm, YouTube and Twitter, wherever you're watching. We're glad you're showing up today and giving us some love. As you just heard, hit us up with any questions, comments, picks you guys got for today's Wednesday's baseball slate or any sport. We got tons of sports going on. Howard, how you doing, man? I know we both got some picks running already on this Wednesday early slate.
Yeah, you throw in some daytime baseball, and there's always going to be some sweats. Now, the game that I'm kind of sweating right now, and I'm curious as to your take on it. I mean, it just started. It's the Braves A's game.
Yeah.
But the thing about this Braves A's series has been, I mean, it's been insane, right? I mean, the A's have won the first two games. I had the team total for the Braves on Monday, and that was terrible. And then you had the Braves yesterday on the team total, I believe, and that was equally terrible. So I actually went back to that game. I don't know how you feel about going back to a game like that, but I was like, listen, there's no way that we're going to deal with this. So I actually took the over in A's Braves for today with Caprillion against Jared Schuster. The over-under was 9. And then I've got Matt Olson on the hits plus runs plus RBI. It's got to be over 2.5. I mean, I wish there was only 1.5, but you know what? I mean, listen, Matty Olson can clear the deck with a single swing of the bat, and hopefully that's kind of where we end up. What about you?
Yeah, so yesterday I think it was John Impemba who had the over on the team total for the Braves. I did not.
I just pawned it off on Impemba. He's not here to defend himself. I got you.
Oh, because I was thinking back to my picks yesterday. I think I was on the Dodgers team total, which is, as you mentioned, that's a pick I went back to because on our show on Monday I had the Nats Dodgers over. And the Nats, as we were kind of referring to, the Nats offense did not do their part there. The Dodgers did enough. So yesterday, I just kind of singled out the Dodgers having success on offense, and that came through. The whole game went over, though, so I kind of wish I did go back to the well and take the over in that game. But so, yeah, I mean, this game, yeah, James Caprillion on the mound for the A's. I support this bet. I mean, the backing any game over that involves Caprillion on the mound right now is pretty much a safe bet. So you'd think the Braves offense is going to wake up at some point, right?
I mean, the Braves offense could not be any worse than what we're seeing right now. And you know what? I mean, the funny thing is like, I kind of, looked back a little further. Braves have lost like 7 out of their last 12. They're definitely they're on the struggle bus at the time right now. But like you just said, I mean, I'm hoping that James Caprillion is the cure for what ails you, and we hopefully end up with a much better outcome for today. We're through 2 innings and it's scoreless, so I'm really starting to hate life right now.
It's scoreless and hitless. No one's got a hit yet, so we'll see. We'll be monitoring that throughout today's game. So hopefully Olson's one of those hits that breaks that scoreless tie. We'll see. I'm on a couple plays too right now. Another game that just started up, the Pirates-Giants. I backed the Pirates on the money line in the first 5 with Mitch Keller on the mound. I mean, this dude has been so good this year, and facing a Giants offense that's is very targetable for pitchers this year. And I think Keller's a guy that can have success there. It's bottom of the second, and it's 0-0 right now, so we'll be keeping track of that. Another pick I have for a game that's starting up right now is, or in about 5 minutes here, is the Nats Dodgers. And I'm going back to the well with Freddie Freeman. I mean, I've been riding his hits, runs, and RBI prop for a number of days, going straight. And it's been working because he's on a hit streak. He's on an on-base streak. Went 4 for 5 last night. I don't care that it's at 2.5 and it's plus money at 2.5. If you want to jump on that now, but he's been going over the 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs without an issue. So I still like that. And that's coming up now. So 5 minutes to go there. I mean, he's facing a lefty today in Corbin, which, I mean, his better splits are against righties. So it's not totally ideal, but Corbin might be out of the game a little early. And then we get the bad Nats bullpen behind it. So I'm still on the Freeman here.
Can't argue against the Freeman thing. I also have some action going on that Nats Dodgers game as well. But here you go. I'm kind of in a reverse sort of way with you. I'm taking the Nationals on the first 5 inning run line. They're getting 1.5. So I mean, yeah, Corbin is terrible. He has actually shown some flashes this year. Believe it or not, Patrick Corbin has only given up 4 more runs in an outing twice this season. Maybe it was 3 times. Might be 3 times. But he's actually pitched, reasonably well. It's Syndergaard on the mound for the Dodgers. Like, he's terrible. So to me, if you're going to give me for the first 5 innings, if you're going to give me that run line, and you're going to make it 1.5 instead of the usual half a run at minus 120. I thought that was a pretty slick bet.
I like that. And I like the first 5 innings, just narrowing it to that because of the Nats bullpen is definitely one of the 10 worst in the league overall this year. And lately for sure. It's one of the reasons I've backed the Dodgers team total yesterday and last week or so. So I like that. Yeah. So those are a couple picks for you guys before that game starts up in about 4 minutes here. And we're monitoring multiple games. We got the Rays Cubs, the Guardians Orioles, Angels White Sox, and that's another game I have going right now. The Angels, I guess it cashed already. The Angels' first 5 money run line was plus 0.5 to basically be tied or leading, and they were winning at after 5 innings there. Just fading Lynn basically. There we go. Get the cat. We're starting the day on a win for me. It's all downhill from here. We'll see. But fading Lynn has always been a favorite thing of mine this season. And how about Jaime Barria for the Angels? I mean, this guy, I thought he would struggle. I remember a couple of weeks ago we did a show and I mentioned fading the Angels because Barria was getting the start, moving from the bullpen to the rotation. But this guy's been pretty good in the rotation for the Angels, and he's been holding the White Sox. I mean, easy matchup here, but through 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, only allowed a run, and that gave me the win today.
Yeah, I mean, coming off of a game where, I mean, if you watch the White Sox yesterday, I did the MLB DFS playbook over at Fantasy Alarm. So if you guys want DFS advice, like this is for betting, but if you're looking for DFS advice, or something like that, go check out the playbook. James Grande was doing it, but yesterday I did that playbook and I was like, oh, okay, I'm looking at like a nice low owned stack for the White Sox. I against the lefty, they, their numbers were middle of the road. Over their last week, the White Sox numbers have been absolutely putrid. But I was like, you know what, Tyler Anderson, the dude's a total tomato can. I stacked Burger, Robert, and Eloy Jimenez.
You got a burger stack?
Burger stack. So I got the 3 of them in my lineup, and and they all had multi-hit games. They all performed, really well. Nobody went yard, but they performed really well. So trying to run that back. Sans Burger. You want to go with the impossible option, the meatless option. You want to go with the vegan stack of Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez. Well, this is what happens when you go vegan. They're 0 for 6 right now. That's just no good. It's no bueno there. So tough one to come back with, but I'm happy that you cashed that bet. It's hysterical that the White Sox were favored even on the first 5 on the money line there as Lance Lynn coughs up 8 earned runs in 4 innings, and Jaime Barria, who we figured would go 4 or 5. Pitching like Cy Flippin' Young.
Right. And the Angels getting some help from Trout and Ohtani, both going deep in that game.
Dude,
and
Ohtani.
Tani, by the way, shout out to Bennett Carroll from James Grande's home run thread that we had going earlier today and still going right now if you want to get some picks in, get some home run calls in before tonight's games. But yeah, James Grande starting that Twitter thread, and Bennett Carroll hit yesterday on the Ohtani, fading his own White Sox. And then today he went back to the well with Ohtani. So if you're on that home run prop, you're cashing. And then Trout too. I mean, both guys just leading the Angels here. We'll get to some of our own home run calls a little bit later. And you mentioned the DFS playbook. Head over to Fantasy Alarm right now and get that all-pro package for DFS playbooks covering every sport, 10 different sports, giving you some betting picks. Howard Bender right here has our best bets for today, so go check that out before we touch on some here. But yeah, DFS playbooks, you would have gotten it for the early slate today, and for we'll have some value plays are up right now for the MLB playbook for tonight's slate, so go check those out. But Alarm 50 is the promo code there for 50% off your first 6 months. So yeah, get going on that right now, and we'll touch on some of those plays because I know they'll be kind of interwoven. I have a couple that are interwoven from the playbook and the value plays from some of my picks. So we'll definitely touch on some of those. Howard, let's get to some of our best bets for tonight's slate. We obviously got these games going on now, but we are looking towards tonight's games starting up in the evening after we get off.
Yes, we are. And I'll tell you what, the game that I'm most focused on tonight is actually the Boston Red Sox. As you see right there on the screen, the best bet, Red Sox team total over 5.5 runs. Got that for minus 110. Where did I get that on? I think I got that. That was BetMGM that I did that. I mean, listen, it's James Paxton versus Luke Weaver. And obviously Paxton is irrelevant on the Red Sox team total here. To me, what I'm looking at is the Boston Red Sox at home right now have been fantastic. I mean, we're talking about like a near 300 batting average at home, 365 OBP at home. Really crazy numbers. I've got all the numbers posted in the article over here at Fantasy Alarm. How about this? 298, 363, 486 slash line for the Red Sox at home in 840 OPS. But here's the important factor. At home this season, the Boston Red Sox are averaging more than 6 runs per game. So wow. You're telling me that Luke Weaver, Puke Weaver? I mean, come on, man. There's no way Puke Weaver holds this really solid lefty heavy lineup in there. So my best bet is the Red Sox team total over 5.5 runs. Maybe I got some props in there that we can discuss in a few, but I'd like to know what your best bet is, Dan.
Yeah, I'll give it to you in 1 sec. For more context, that over-under is at 10.5 for Red Sox there, and the Red Sox are favored. So if you're looking at that team total, obviously you're more confident in the Red Sox adding to that over-under. You can see it posted here at 9, but it's raised up the last hour here. Over 10.5 is that total. So
because James Paxton sucks too.
Exactly, yeah. But you are at least Reds. You're more confident in the Red Sox part of that one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
My best bets are centered on the Marlins here. I'm going with the Marlins money line and the Marlins first 5 innings on the run line. So if they're trailing or if they're tied or winning at the first 5, I'm good with that. But some juice there on DK. But I like the plus money on the Marlins money line, plus 100. Fading Blake Snell here. He's got a 5.04 ERA, 5.39 FIP, and a 5.92 expected ERA this season. And the Marlins are top 5 offense against left-handed hitters this year. 351 WOBA, 122 WRC plus this season. Over the last 2 weeks, it's even better. 379 WOBA, 141 WRC plus. So that matchup I love. And then on the other side, we got Braxton Garrett for the Marlins. You know, his overall numbers this year aren't particularly strong when you just look at it, but he's been trending up lately. 291 ERA over his last 4 starts and a 165 ERA over his last 3 starts. and he settled down after blowing up for 11 runs against the Braves at his first outing of May, which really skews his stats overall. I mean, giving up 11 earned runs at any start. But if you take that one out, he's actually been a solid pitcher this year, and he gets to face a Padres offense that's bottom 10 in the league on the road this year with a sub 300 WOBA, and also just hitting 216 against lefty-handed pitchers over the last 2 weeks. So I see both these matchups, and it's just pointing me to the Marlins here. And I like the plus money on the money line. A little worried about the bullpens involved, but I still like it.
Yeah, the bullpens are always an absolute nightmare there. But I mean, listen, you know what? I mean, for the plus odds, I think it's definitely worth the shot. I mean, San Diego really, throughout the season just has not been the offense that we had thought. I mean, even when you brought back Fernando Tatis Jr. Now, obviously, Machado with the hand issue coming in and out of the lineup. But yeah, I mean, it's a very top heavy lineup for the San Diego Padres. Like what's sitting there at the bottom, really not pretty, not pretty at all. So you're not getting a whole lot of offensive push from the rest of that lineup. And I think that, the Padres are, it's problematic for them to have that. You need a much more full lineup. You look at the top two offensive lineups in baseball right now, and it's the Rays and it's the Rangers. And you could look at both of those teams, and hitters 1 through 6 are doing well for you. And then 7, 8, and 9 are okay. They're hit or miss. But to have that first full 6, like I was talking about the Rangers in particular, having Jonah Heim and Josh Young as the 5 and 6 hitters in that lineup, it changes the whole dimension of things once you get beyond that first 4. So, yeah, I think it's a very interesting thing to look at when you see teams who are struggling. What do they have at the back end of their lineup? Do they go beyond the top 4? And right now the Padres just don't.
Yeah, they got, Bogarts is hitting 256 this year. Juan Soto, he's getting on base, but he's hitting under 270 this year. So those are two guys. It's like if those guys aren't producing for them, there's a reason why they're struggling this year. And on the road, specifically, as I mentioned earlier, it was their offense has been a bottom 10 in the league this year. So they can light it up at home, but when on the road here. And by the way, so last night or yesterday, Marlins Padres, it was 4-4 in the 9th, and then Dylan Floro exploded for 5 runs allowed in that 9th inning. So the Padres, they won 9-4, but I think that stat line is definitely skewed a little bit in the Padres' favor. They didn't score 9 runs in the game, really. It was more they were held to 4 runs and then just kind of got lucky with a blow up by a pitcher. So, but yeah, I like the Marlins to bounce back from that one and take the win here. I'll let you throw out another one. You mentioned it might relate to your Red Sox team total here. Where are you going here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna look at Masataka Yoshida, who has been absolutely fantastic. 3 straight multi-hit games for Yoshida, and the way he's hitting against right-handed pitching right now. A tomato can like our good friend Luke Weaver. I'm pulling up the exact total here because the numbers are fantastic for Yoshida, right? How about this? Slashing, not even slashing. Here you go. 373 on base percentage, a 519 slugging percentage, which, it's not a huge amount of power here, but decent enough. 893 OPS, a 202 isolated power mark, and a 383 WOBA. Just going up against right-handed pitching. Doesn't strike out. I mean, we're talking about a sub 12% strikeout rate for Yoshida. And I'm looking at him over 1.5 total bases. I think he can come up with another multi-hit game. Yeah, what's he got? Look at that. So he's got 7 hits in his last 3 games, 1 double, 3 walks. Can I get over 1.5 total bases here? I think I can.
I like that. Would you? Yeah, you also like the hits, runs, RBIs prop? I mean, if we like the total bases here,
There was no good value at his
okay,
prop for that. I mean, I think it was like minus 230 for over 1.5.
yeah,
And then I didn't want to push to the alt line and look at it like 2.5 there for him. So there really wasn't enough value for me for that bet, which is why I went to the total bases. Because I mean, you're giving me the total bases at plus 110 for a guy who just has 7 hits in his last 3 games, and he's going up against a pitcher who, I'm sorry, I could probably pitch just as well.
you could also probably get over 1.5 total bases against them.
Oh, I don't know. No, I was terrible.
Oh,
hitter.
okay.
I can't. You know what the problem is? I'm a right-handed hitter, right? And I can't see out of my left eye. So
That'll do it.
I can't see like shout out to my dad. Thanks, lefty Jeff Bender, for not teaching your son how to hit left-handed, just so I could actually see the flipping ball coming right at me, which I couldn't. You know how many times I got beamed in the head for not being able to see the ball coming at me? Once they started throwing over 60 miles an hour in Little League, I was like, I'm out.
Our producer, Adam Bernard, saying that explains a lot, that you can't see out of your left eye there.
I know, right? Here, look. See, I could go like that, and I can't see how bad Adam Bernard is about singing. And I can't see, his at Pucking Thoughts question about the look at that. I do see him now. Oh, you're looking beautiful in orange. It makes your eyes pop. I like that.
By the way, Adam, I got to ask you. You mentioned in our chat here that if someone throws a no-hitter in Oakland today, which would not be good for Howard's bet here, 27 people will have witnessed it because you're watching the game right now. There's not a ton of people in that park, I bet.
I mean, at 12:30 local first pitch in Oakland, I mean, it's not going to get a great attendance to begin with. I mean, geez, you could stretch your legs out there for today if you're there. That's for sure.
And still 0-0 game here in the 4th inning for that Braves-A's game, of course.
All right, take it easy, buddy. Take it easy.
No, I'm just giving people the update,
I just don't. Yeah, I don't really understand what the hell's going on with the Braves offense right now. I mean, really, you're gonna make James Caprillion look at you like that he's Cy Young. Matty Olson, by the way, 0 for 2. Thanks a lot, Matt Olson, with a pop out to second and a fly out to shortstop.
Wow. Some other updates here. We got the Pirates up 4-1 now over the Giants. So I was on that first 5, so that's looking okay right now. And then the Nats Dodgers 3-0 for the Dodgers already. We had a Will Smith 3-run homer. And Freddie Freeman, I was on his hits runs. He's already got 2. He's got a hit and a run already. So we'll keep monitoring that. But the Nats can do some damage. They haven't even they've gotten up once, I guess, but they could still do some damage against Syndergaard to have your bet come back for that first 5. They only need to be trailing by 1, right? In the after the first 5, so they can make it back. Look
at flipping Patrick Corbin, right? Like, I mean, this dude. I mean, look at this. Here's the frustrating aspect, and this is where betting baseball becomes a much more difficult task than I think a lot of people tend to recognize. Like, all right, Corbin got rocked by Kansas City in his last outing before that. But look at this. So he goes up against Detroit, 6 innings, 2 earned. He goes up against the Mets, 6 innings, 2 earned. He goes up against the Giants, 6 innings, 2 earned. Goes up against the Cubs, 7 innings, 2 earned. Right? 5 1/3, he only allows 3 to Pittsburgh. 6 innings, he gives up 3. Like, I mean, this is massive quality starts coming out here. And immediately he gives up 2 home runs, 1 to Mookie Betts and 1 to Will Smith to start this game. Down 3-0, doesn't have a single out, and flipping JD Martinez is now sitting there on first base because Corbin walked him.
Wow.
Kill me. Just kill me now.
Oh, I won't do that because I need you to finish the show here with me. But we'll be keeping track. I mean, dude, the Corbin. But on the other side, I'm not trusting Syndergaard to hold this lead. So And the Nats offense has been quietly pretty solid against right-handed pitching. That's why I targeted them a couple days ago with the over in that game, the Nats Dodgers. They came through last night, had a good game, but yeah, I think they can get to Syndergaard here.
Don't patronize me, Daniel.
I'm just trying to be on your side here.
I appreciate that, but it's not working. Patrick Corbin sucks. Sucks.
We'll throw out another bet here, and gotta give a shout out to Colby Conway, who's on the MLB DFS Value Plays article for today. Gave out a ton of picks for the early slate and the late slate. So if you're playing on this late slate, get in that All Pro fantasy alarm package and get the value plays. And one player he's mentioned, he's actually the cover athlete for that article, is Jake McCarthy. A cheap play on DFS if you want to go that route, but I like his stolen bases prop plus 260 to get a steal tonight. He's had 5 stolen bases since being called up from the minor leagues. He got sent down for a month, but he's back from AAA, and he's got 5 steals over his 5 games back, including 2 in back-to-back games over the last 2 coming into tonight. And, it's clear the Diamondbacks, I read a couple articles on this, the Diamondbacks they want him to run. They're looking for him to run. It's basically him and Corbin Carroll who are their speed guys. They're looking for both of them whenever they're on base to make some moves and get the offense rolling that way and use their speed. And McCarthy had success the last couple games, and since coming up from the minors, he's been doing it. And this is a fade of Dinelson Lamet too, because this guy is coming off the IL for his first start this year for the Rockies here against Arizona. Was bad early this year as a reliever. 12.66 ERA, 2.44 WHIP. Who knows what we're going to get from him tonight, but I doubt he's going to be that great. I can see the Diamondbacks having success here, so I think McCarthy's going to be a part of that. And even with Lamet out of the game, which he might not last that long, the Rockies bullpen has been pretty bad. Second worst ERA over the last 2 weeks, and third worst FIP too. So I think McCarthy, as long as he gets on base, I think we're good for a stolen base here because he's going to be running, and he doesn't get caught that often.
No, he doesn't. And, to your point on that, now on Friday, they published this past Saturday, my article in the New York Post. I was doing a breakdown of stolen bases because I said Jake McCarthy's on his way up, and you're going to want to invest in him, especially if you're looking for stolen bases, because stolen bases is a very movable category in fantasy. So fantasy owners, need to pay attention to that. But what I love about this bet is here's the weave of fantasy and betting content in there together. Is that what we're seeing with Arizona right now? They have the 12th most stolen, or this was as of Friday when I wrote the article. They had the 12th most stolen base attempts, but they also had a near 83% success rate on their steals. There are 12 teams in Major League Baseball that have a success rate in excess of 80%. So, if you're starting to look at some of these teams, because, we knew this coming into the season with the new rules, and, you can only throw over to first, a limited number of times. You can only step off the rubber a certain number, in that aspect, and before you have to deliver a pitch to home plate. And so teams are being a lot more aggressive on the base paths. So if you do look and you see, what these teams are doing, and I mean, here you go, the most aggressive: Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, Oakland, believe it or not, Cleveland, and Baltimore. Those are your top 5 teams in stolen base attempts right now. And then if you're looking at teams with high success rates, and where a bet like this for Colby can come into play, you look at, Oakland sending guys left and right because, they got nothing to lose. Cleveland, that team is built for small ball like that. Baltimore does it as well. Miami does it. Arizona, these are the teams where a bet like this definitely makes sense. It's kind of like betting a home run prop. I think, you're looking at very similar odds, but if you're looking at the way, how aggressive teams are with stealing bases this year, we're on pace to have the most that we've had since I think it was like 2013 or 2014. We're looking at the most stolen bases since then. And then if we start to increase that pace, we could have the most stolen bases that we've seen since 1999. So that's why I like betting that stolen base prop. So kudos to Colby for throwing that, or kudos to Colby for throwing that into the value article. Kudos to you for taking that stolen base pick. Good job.
Well, yeah, I mean, I got to give credit to Colby because I was editing and posting his article earlier today and just reading through it and seeing that prop or prop possibility. I mean, this is just a value play, so you could go with. You can even look at his total bases or his hits, runs, RBIs. But I like the fact that he can just get on base, whether it's a walk or a hit, and steal a bag. So yeah, I'm looking at that. By the way, he's Corbin Carroll for the D-backs. You mentioned that this team stealing a lot of bases, a lot of stolen base attempts. He's got 16 on the year, the team leader there. But second on the team is McCarthy with 7. As I mentioned, he's got 5 in the last 5 games, and he was down in the minors for a month. So ever since he's come back up, they're letting him run. So looking at that pick. And by the way, I'll throw this out there too, because I'm on the Diamondbacks first 5 run line, minus 125 on DraftKings to be leading after 5. I like this, fading Dinelson Lamet here, and I'll do it with this whole offense, not just McCarthy here. Lamet coming off the IL, as I mentioned, in his first start, threw 10 innings of relief early this year for the Rockies. And I mentioned that the bad 12.66 ERA, 2.44 WHIP this year. I doubt he's going to turn a corner and have success tonight in his first start. He hasn't started a game this year. He started in some rehab appearances, but this is a tough environment on the road to go to the Diamondbacks here, who have been really good against right-handed pitching, a 331 WOBA this year, and a low 18% strikeout rate against righties this year. And during the month of May, they've been even a little better. Arizona's got a 338 WOBA against righties and about a 20% strikeout rate. So still holding firm there. And the other side, we got Tommy Henry for the Diamondbacks. He's been up and down this year, but I see a better outing here because of this matchup. The Rockies on the road, but especially against left-handed pitching this year, they're among the league's worst. 294 WOBA. And a league worst 68 weighted runs created plus this year against lefties. And over the last 2 weeks, it's been even worse, a 50 WRC plus and a 267 WOBA against lefties. So I see Tommy Henry having success here, leading the Diamondbacks just enough. I think he's going to get plenty of run support against Dinelson Lamet here.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to go against your call on that. Dinelson Lamet was a novelty a couple of seasons ago, right? I think a lot of the fantasy community was in on him, but yeah, I'm happy to bet against him. I'm happy to bet against the Rockies on the regular. I think that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Listen, you know what? The run line is cash for the last 2 straight games for Arizona, and I've bet it each day.
I was looking at that for the full game run line. I just kind of limited to 2 runs here, or for the first 5 innings.
Oh, you just did the first 5. Okay.
Yes.
Either way.
But I did look at the run line because they've as you mentioned, they've cashed the last 2. And I backed you on Monday when I think you threw it out on the show, and that was the game we were tweeting back and forth at each other because it didn't start out great for the Diamondbacks, but they made a strong push as soon as our show ended. They scored like 5 runs straight and did not look back in that game. So yeah, we know fading the Rockies is always a good idea, and the Diamondbacks have been getting it done. So yeah, I don't mind looking at the run line for the whole game. I'm looking to see what that is right now. I mean, they were minus 155 on the money line too. If you want to look at that, that's not too bad, but plus 110 for the run line if you want to go that route for the Diamondbacks.
I'll stick with your first 5. I'll be happy with that.
All right.
Stick with your first 5 and your Jake McCarthy stolen base prop. Listen, I'm gonna dump more crap onto you here with the Red Sox game. So you know what? I mean, listen, but there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with latching on to a game if you truly believe that you've got a good read on it.
Yeah.
If you know the pitchers, if you know where you want to go, if you feel like you've got a solid read on a game, take advantage of it. Now, yes, could something blow up with the fact that the Braves and the A's are knotted at 0 with with in the top of the 5th inning? No, I mean that kind of happens, but listen, I'm looking at that Red Sox game, and this is like, if you've got that good beat on the game, that's where the same game parlay helps you out and kind of boosts your odds with that. Now, I didn't do any same game parlays on it, but I've got Matt McClain, shortstop for the Reds. I've got his hits plus runs plus RBI over 1.5 at -120. He's leading off. Again, James Paxton has been, I guess atrocious is probably a little harsh, considering that he's actually pitched okay here. Not that he's like, I think he's thrown 2 starts right now, 1 shorty, kind of warm up, and then 1 actual start. But the Reds are hot right now, and McClain is he's on an 8-game hit streak with 5 multi-hit performances in that realm, right? He had a 4-hit game. Yesterday he had a hit, 1 hit. But the day before that, he had 4 hits, including a double with an RBI and a stolen base. The game before that, 2 hits. The game before that, 3 hits. So, he's hot right now. It's a nice ballpark to play in, for obvious reasons. McClain could just put one off of the big green monster and end up with a quick double if he pulls it, in that direction. So I'm pretty psyched about this bet. I got it for -120. Yes. Could you parlay the Yoshida prop and the McClain prop together? Yes, you could. I'm not, but yes, you could if you want to improve on the odds.
Yeah, and I was just building a same game parlay for this game because you mentioned you got multiple picks here. If you parlay just to get a hit, if you want to go Matt McClain and Yoshida both to just get a hit, it's -110. So even odds there if you take out just the runs and RBIs that you were mentioning, or total bases in general, if you just want to go just to get a hit. So if you like that, and if you even throw in the Red Sox team total that you mentioned, if you even go, down a run, over 4.5 runs, it's at +180. So that's pretty juicy too. I like that.
There you go. I'll take that bet at +180, and it's a 3-leg parlay.
Yeah,
with fewer runs. That works for me. Dan Servodidio. See, this is what happens. Like, I have to look at all of my betting and stuff like that. I'm in California. If anybody didn't know that, I'm in California. So I have to organize all my bets in the morning. And then I have to reach out to my guy. He lays all my action for me. So, I mean, I could get a little fancy with the same game parlays, but I'm also losing 10% to him, of my winnings. So I might as well just, kind of not chase too much.
Yeah, this is more for everyone that is interested in mobilely betting this. Maybe you're going to the Red Sox game here tonight. You want to get some action on it. I know we got mobile sports betting legal in Massachusetts now, so I know people will be doing that. But yeah, if you're like Howard was saying though, if you're high on multiple picks in the same game, and you can kind of, like I said, you can kind of lay the juice a different way and say, all right, let's just get Yoshida to get a hit. Let's get McClain to get a hit, because both of those are like -225. Obviously, you wouldn't just bet that straight up, but if you just parlay those together, and then even add in Howard's picks here of like, all right, total bases, hits, runs, RBIs, go with multiple ways, and if it cashes, you're hitting big. So, yeah. But also, Howard, how do you feel about parlays? Because obviously, if people have been betting sports and for betting for baseball or any sport really, but the parlays are, if people don't know, is that sports books are trying to get you with parlays, because it's just obviously a lesser chance of happening. They juice up these big odds of, especially with the NBA playoffs. I saw these big ones. It's like, all right, Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum to both score 30 plus points, that kind of thing. Like, all right, it probably won't happen, but people want to bet that stuff. How do you approach the parlays if maybe it's a play like right now we were talking about where you're pretty confident about both those players doing well, or if you're looking for the juicier odds, the plus 300 parlays, that kind of thing?
So here's the thing, and you're right. This is where the books make all of their money, because everybody, I mean everybody, even smart, sharp bettors out there will still go into a run where they'll chase the long odds for the same game parlay. And I've been very vocal about this because, since, gambling was being legalized throughout the states, because they prey upon the get rich quick scheme. And unfortunately, and this is definitely an indictment on our society, is that everybody wants maximum return for minimal work. And betting, and this is what all the anti-bettors turn around and they say, that everybody's chasing this dream and they're just going to lose their shirt and it's going to be even worse. And I agree with them in the sense that there needs to be better education about it. And chasing these parlays, I want to say there was somewhere in the neighborhood of, I want to say for like $1 billion in betting, there was somewhere in the realm of like $12 to $16 million bet in same game parlays or some form of a parlay. And it's much harder to cash. You need things to happen. Just go ask any sharp bettor about, their parlays. How many times have you seen somebody, on a 3 or 4 leg parlay, they lose one of the bets? And that's just a loss. There's no partial credit. I mean, sure, some of the books will be like, oh, well, things like Prize Picks, or, they'll be like, oh, if you get 2 out of 3, or whatever. There's sometimes the books will try and be generous and they'll say, well, we'll, if you miss that parlay, we'll still give you, a bonus bet, feature for doing that whole thing.
Yeah.
You're chasing long odds. You're making it much more difficult for yourself in order to make that happen. It's okay to do it every so often, but don't get crazy with it. Like, you see all these people, and you'll see it like gambling Twitter and everything like that, where it's like, oh, so-and-so hit a 12 leg parlay at plus 5,266. Ask that person how many times they've cashed a 12 leg parlay to begin with. It's just, you're chasing long odds. You're chasing money. It's not the way to do it. Grind it for a little while. And then, if you want to do it, in that fashion, if you want to, chase a long shot parlay, or you want to build an 8-leg parlay for a game, go ahead and do it. But make sure you're plus money for the season. Make sure you're up for your bankroll, because if you're sitting there down and you're trying to make it all back with like hitting this big parlay, guess what? Like, every time you see like something in the movie, something on TV, what was the movie? Oh, it was God, I can't remember the name of the movie now. The guy was like, he was like losing, and then he just kept chasing longer odds, and he knew I was gonna hit it. And I was on this 7-leg parlay, and 6 of them hit, and all I needed was for one more rebound in this basketball game, and he lost. So
was it Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Uncut Gems. It was definitely, it was more of a low key movie. Uncut Gems was fantastic. Uncut Gems, I watched that with nothing but like riddled with anxiety the entire movie.
Yeah.
I was like, ugh, like that's the grimy side of gambling right there. But you can do it without chasing all of this stuff. So if you want to hit some same game parlays, you want to do stuff like that, that's fine. Just make sure that you're ahead of the game for right now, and you're not chasing for the sake of trying to like match things up. That's that's my call.
No, that was a great rant there. I mean, not even a rant; it's just truth right there. So if you if you want to know about parlays, that's what it is. And also, just to add on, it's like, don't throw multiple unit bets at these big parlays with these big odds. Those things are, you want to throw like half a unit or a quarter of a unit at, or whatever your betting unit is. I mean, you want to try it, but you don't, just because it's juicier odds, you want to make, thousands of money or whatever, thousands of dollars. You don't want to throw multiple units at it. So that's how these sports books are making their money, because people see those odds, are like, oh, if I throw $100 at this bet, maybe it'll, I could cash big, but chances are you'll lose. So, and you'll throw $100 at the next big parlay.
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, just a couple of quick updates here. The Braves now have the bases loaded.
Let's go.
Right? They're up 2-0 with an Ozzie Albies 2-run home run here in the top of the fifth. So helping you on those run line bets if you did it. But my boy Matty Olson took an intentional walk, so he's on first. I need him to at least come around to score.
3-0 now, I'm saying.
Oh, there you go. So Riley hit by the pitch. Olson moves over to second. It's not helping. He needs to cross the plate. I've got the over 2.5 hits plus runs plus RBI, so I need a little extra work there. But how about this one here, my friend? Top of the third right now. The Nationals, thanks to Keibert Ruiz and CJ Abrams with back-to-back home runs in the second inning, they are 1 run down from the Dodgers. They have 2 men on with 2 outs here. So if Patrick Corbin doesn't get destroyed in the next 2 innings, I could be in a good spot there.
There we go. I told you that Syndergaard would give you something there.
Right? Yeah. Well, there it is. I mean, listen, if you're gonna give up home runs, man, yes, please let it be that bottom end of that line. Save me.
Before we get to some home run calls, I want to throw out one more pick I got, and I'll shout out my own Underdog Picks article up on Fantasy Alarm. That I have a couple picks over there if you want to check that out. That article's for free for those interested. But this is a pick I like for plus money on DraftKings, plus 115. I got it at over 7.5 strikeouts for Hunter Brown, facing a Twins lineup that is tied for the worst strikeout rate against right-handed pitching in the major leagues this season, with the A's at 26.3% strikeout rate against righties. And over the last 2 weeks, it's even worse, 31% strikeout against righties. This line is high, 7.5, obviously, but Brown has 8 or more strikeouts in 3 straight outings coming into tonight, and has at least 7 Ks in 6 of his 10 starts this year. And he's got a 28% strikeout rate on his own this year as a starter for the Astros. Just this young talent that I think is going to have success against the Twins. He had 7 Ks against the Twins back in April. And I think there's been enough time passed where I think he can replicate that even more and get to 8 or more strikeouts tonight. Just a little bit more context. The Astros against the Twins in this series, the last 2 games, their starters, both righties, JP France and Brandon Bielak, both lesser strikeout pitchers for sure than Hunter Brown. And they both had 8 and 6 strikeouts against the Twins in this series. So I like Brown to get 8 or more tonight, and I like the plus money there. And on Underdog, I like the over there. I think it's 7 is the line there. I like the over there too.
Dig it, man. I can definitely dig it. I like that. I like it.
All right, let's get to some home run calls for tonight. We only got a few minutes left in this show. By the way, coming up, we got John and Pemba and James Grande at 5 o'clock Eastern with that MLB DFS show here on Bettor Sports Network, as they do every day, giving you guys picks for the MLB DFS slate tonight. And as you lock in these bets too, let's get to our home run calls for today. I'll let you go first here.
All right. Well, hazard a wild guess here, Dan, as to what game.
Another Red Sox.
It's already up on screen right there. All right. Well, I'm going to go with Rafael Devers. Was dealing with a calf injury. Came back his first game back from the calf injury. He went hitless, but then all of a sudden in yesterday's game he turned it around. I'm looking at him going up against, like I said, to me, I love this matchup for the Red Sox against Luke Weaver. You got a nice little lefty righty matchup, so. Yeah, I'm going to take Rafael Devers. I think I got it for plus 310 for him to hit his home run tonight. So Yoshida prop, McLean prop, Devers home run prop. This game is just fixing to be 1-0 by the end of it.
Either way, I would be tracking this live every at bat. I want to see what is going on here. He's going heavy on the Red Sox Reds tonight. My home run prop is from a guy, obviously, an easy call here, but Pete Alonso. I mean, the guy plus 370 for Alonso right now. And he's a guy you've mentioned on Twitter and on the show of like seeing his odds kind of being free money at times because the guy's going to homer, if he hasn't already in a couple of days. And that's been the case. He hasn't homered in 2 games coming into the night. So I can see him going deep tonight. Got great numbers against Aaron Nola in his career. 5 homers in his career, 15 for 43 for a 349 batting average. I mentioned his different prop over on the underdog picks on fantasyalarm.com right now. If you want to go read that article, not a home run prop there. So that's a different angle I'm looking at. But for this one, I like his home run prop because he's got the home run power success against Nola in his career. And he's been on fire lately. 7 homers over his last 13 games. And as I mentioned, he hasn't gone more than 2 games without a home run in that stretch of his hot streak. So I'm looking for him to go deep tonight.
Do you want me to say that I had him at plus 390 to hit a home run yesterday?
I know you did. That's what I said. I think you mentioned it on Twitter, and it seems like in James Grande's home run calls, someone is mentioning Pete Alonso, and that was me today. I'm just going there because these odds, I mean, he should probably be plus 200 at this point to homer because he could homer in any given game.
Dude, yesterday Aaron Judge was plus 105 to hit a home run.
And he didn't, right?
No, he didn't. He didn't. So
of course.
Well, that's baseball.
I'll sprinkle a little on that, and Devers too. We'll get them together here. Before we get out of here, I want to give a shout out here and give a quick pick for the Memorial Tournament, PGA tournament starting up tomorrow. I reached out to him. He wasn't able to come on, but Drew Phelps has our PGA DFS coverage over at Fantasy Alarm. Absolutely kills it every week with every tournament that's going on. And there's a free article for previewing overall the PGA DFS coverage that we got for the Memorial Tournament. So you can check that out. But you got to get that All Pro subscription to get his PGA DFS playbook and example lineups. And one golfer he's high on that I like a prop here and a bet for this weekend is Ricky Fowler to be a top 20 finish here. Plus 140 on DraftKings. Drew, as I mentioned, likes him for DFS, but this prop is interesting. So top 20 finish. Okay. He's been top 20 in 8 of his last 10 tournaments. 7 of those have been top 15 or better too. I mean, this is literally one of the best golfers in the world right now. He missed the cut at the PGA Championship 2 weeks ago, which is a little worrisome. And that's been one of his only bad finishes, but he bounced back last weekend, tied for 6th in that tournament at the Colonial. So I see him kind of continuing that here. And this course, Muirfield Village at the Memorial, he's had 13 career starts, and he's been a runner-up a couple times there and 6 top 25 finishes. So I see this top 20 number at plus odds, and I like it. And just reading through Drew's playbook, he's got a couple more stats there that he's high on Fowler for DFS too.
All right, listen, you know what? I'm in for it. I'm 100% in for it. I love the work that Drew Phelps does. I don't follow golf, so I don't bet what I don't follow. You won't catch me betting on the NBA, and you won't catch me betting on PGA. You won't catch me betting on NASCAR, but I leave that to the experts. And Drew Phelps or Matt Sells or Adam Ronis or Justin Fensterman, I leave that stuff to them. So I will not speak ill of it, and I will not say that it's a bad call at all.
That's fair. And yeah, so last night on the show with John and Pemba, I gave out a WNBA bet because I wanted to give love to Steve Pimentel on this WNBA DFS playbook. And that bet missed by 1 point on the spread. So we barely missed on that one, but I'm a guy that doesn't usually bet on these other sports, but after just trying to get into cover different sports and just have a little bit of action, I'm not going big on these bets, but I like to have a little bit of action if I'm going to be tracking these sports. So yeah, we'll definitely we'll be rooting for Ricky Fowler here. By the way, coming up tonight, you can talk sports, Bettor Sports Live at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can talk sports with Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla. All the hot topics, picks from Ricky Props. We know he's tuned in on the NBA playoffs and just following all the live action, all these baseball games that we got going on that we got some bets on. So that's tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern on Bettor Sports Network, YouTube, and bettorsports.com, the app, and Twitter. So definitely watch Rick Kamla and Lisa Ann tonight. Howard, it's been great. We go long today, but we got a ton of picks that we're following.
We definitely are. So far, so good. Nats, Dodgers, loving that. Need something. I need Matt Olson. Come on, Matt Olson. Don't disappoint me like
Hey,
this,
the Nats
man.
tied it up.
I know. I'm so excited, but you know what? You still got to sweat 2 full innings of Patrick Corbin, and that's never good for anybody.
Well, hopefully you're sweating with Howard and you got that pick in for that one. And good luck to everyone tonight for your picks. We appreciate everyone tuning in here on the Bettor Sports Betting Show here on Bettor Sports Network. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern. So hopefully we see you there. Thanks, everyone.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports Network.